Good morning, everyone. My name is Manmeet Singh, and I am a product line manager in Cisco's IoT business unit. My team is responsible for the range of industrial Ethernet switches. The goal of this session today is to walk you through how does Cisco IoT switching portfolio help you solve the challenges in your industrial networks. During the course of the presentation, which would take around 25 minutes, the intent is that I walk you through the challenges that our customer face, and this is based on the conversations that my team and I have had over the past few years. And then we would highlight how is Cisco's IoT switching portfolio best positioned to solve these challenges. In case you feel that the challenges that you feel today are not listed, we will be more than happy to connect with you after the session and take the feedback. So we get started with what's happening today. What's the landscape? It would be an understatement if I say that everything around us is changing, especially in the last few years. We have seen that there is requirement about hybrid workforce. We need remote access. Business continuity needs to be there 24/7. So this is the ask that we're seeing around us. If we talk specific to grids, an estimate says that if we automate fault isolation and recovery for grids, we save the outage by less than 50%. Speaking about the energy sector, and this is based on the conversations I've had with my customers, you won't believe there are around 2,000 data points that are on a windmill. I'm giving an example. And there's enormous amount of data there, which is now the customers are seeing how do we make use of it? How do we make better decisions based on the data we have so that our processes are better? We are more efficient in our operations. And if we talk about the manufacturing sector, we are moving towards Wi-Fi. We are moving more towards automation. More and more devices are getting connected. So the message is that we are getting more and more devices are being connected, and the need to adapt to this change, the need to be agile is driving digitization. So why this? Why are the people wanting to digitize? How does it help them to achieve the end goal? If I have to categorize all those things into 3 buckets, it helps them be more efficient. Till the age of 22, I thought that there are only 2 facts in life: death and taxes. But after I started working, I learned that as you grow, you're asked to do more with less. You have to do more, but you have to be more efficient. Your processes need to be more efficient. Downtime. In the industrial space, downtime is a big no-no because it costs not hundreds, but thousands, but in some cases, even millions of dollars. And finally, we are a business. Everybody here wants to make profits. We are answerable to our customers. We are answerable to our stakeholders. So that is the key of why everybody today is after digitization. One study that was done by Gartner, and what that tells us that when they interviewed many CIOs, 82% of the CIOs said that their responsibility towards OT is increasing. And 72% of CIOs responded that we need better integration for a secure and efficient management of systems. Now let's get into the core. What are the challenges that we see? And this is all based on the conversations we have had with our customers. And I repeat, in case you feel that the challenges that you face in your day-to-day work is not listed here, we'll be more than happy to take the feedback. At a high level, if you see, the challenges can be categorized into 3 levels: security, scalability, and complexity. Now, if we double-click on each of them, As soon as we talk about security, the first thing which comes in our mind is that we don't know what is connected where. We don't have visibility into the assets. In some cases, where we have also seen that there are assets connected since 15, 20, or even more years, and we do not have visibility into those endpoints. The networks are flat. Traditionally, I assume you all would agree that OT world never believed in having sophisticated network structure. We always historically have been having a very flat network. The third will be counterfeit product, and then especially in this time where I believe lead times, you all would agree, is a big issue, the gray market paths. We have issue about counterfeit products in the market. How do we address that? Because if there is a counterfeit product, there will be issues in performance. There will be compliance issues which needs to be solved. And finally, each of these industrial, be it a grid or any manufacturing environment, there are compliance requirements. For example, there is a requirement for cybersecurity 62443, or we talk about NERC for the grids, and there are more depending on what industrial specifications are there. If we talk about scalability, the first one that comes to my mind is, okay, we have built one, now we need to expand. But there are so many stakeholders in the game. Like what I have learned is that we have the IT, OT, and then we have machine builders, system integrators. There are multiple players in the game, and we do not have a good practice. And when we need to expand, that becomes a big problem. It's very difficult to maintain. We have multiple global sites, siloed networks. How can we manage all those together to ensure that there is no downtime? The third point is about, we do a POC and we have a set expectation in our mind. But POC is always in a very ideal environment. It's in a lab environment, and there's always many cases where we tend to miss a few things. So the experience, the inconsistency in experience between a POC and a production is also one of the major challenges that we see today. And finally, inconsistent network designs. These networks and the operational network have been built by multiple people. There are multiple parties involved at multiple points of time. And sometimes it's just critical to get things running, because OT wants zero downtime. They say, I don't care what you do, just get it running. And in the grand scheme of things, when you look back, you're like, oh, what have I done? It was working, but now when I look everything together, there's a problem. Needless to say, it's very complex. It's extremely complex. We talked about IT, OT. We're learning from our customers and partners that, yeah, you all would be agreeing that IT, OT convergence is a buzzword which has been used in the industry for quite some time. But given the changes that we see in the market today, it's happening more than ever before. And it's about people. What's the domain? Where do we draw the line? Where is the IT domain? Where is the OT domain? All that is a real challenge. And through technology, how do we enable people to converge, the IT and OT convergence to happen? We have heterogeneous network environment. We have seen cases where we have one customer having global presence, similar network outcome, but different architectures, different vendors. Now, if there is an issue, it's very difficult to have skilled people for all those vendors and do troubleshooting in those parts. Then it's about, you have your architecture, but how do you manage it? Like, how do you manage the day-to-day operations for it? There are multiple things involved in there. And then if there is an issue, this is the point which I spoke about earlier, is the skill sets. If you have different vendors, today in the market, there are like thousands of CCIEs, so you have the IT skill set that is there. Now the question is, and now you guys will be saying, yes, we know this. This is not something new, but we are not in the session to hear about this. That this is the actual meat, that how are you helping, how is Cisco's IoT switching portfolio helping us to solve these problems? Let's start with security. Even in this Cisco Live, when I spoke to around 15 customers in Whisper Suite, we talked the word security, and the second word which comes is, okay, we need to segment the network. That's the basic thing. But to segment the network, we need to have visibility into the network, that what is it connected, what do we need to segment. Typically in this scenario, we've seen people using span-based solutions, but span-based solutions, it comes with its own overheads. It comes with its own cost. You need more network infrastructure. There is more requirement for bandwidth. And if you look at it, the total cost of ownership over a longer period of time is not sustainable. So what we have to offer you is Cisco CyberVision. Well, Cisco CyberVision is a topic in itself, so I'm trying to do it in one slide, but I would strongly encourage that you go through the sessions and I can connect offline to give more details. Now, Cisco CyberVision, what it does is, it helps to do deep packet inspection and active discovery built on the network infrastructure. So you don't need to span the traffic. You do active discovery. The network sensors are on the device itself. You anyways will place your switches and routers in the network. So how about getting the visibility at the application level through the sensors on the device which is existing? Now that's just the tip of the iceberg. What it also helps to get you is visibility at an application level, that what is talking to whom. And that helps you form a benchmark that in a normal operating scenario, this PLC is talking to this IO, so you know what is an ideal steady state. Now, if there is an anomaly that is detected, it raises an alarm or it gives you a trigger that, hey, something is wrong, and then you can drill deep at an application level that, okay, this thing is missing. Now, if we have the visibility of the endpoints, we know what is the make, model, serial number for the device. So what that means is that we have information about vulnerability that these guys have risk on. So it assigns risk scores. CyberVision assigns risk scores, will give us a perspective that, okay, the risk score of this domain is high, or this infrastructure is high. So it's up to us that if this is critical infrastructure, it needs to be taken care of immediately. So it helps us to prioritize the actions that we do. And the good news is that this can integrate with ICE, which you guys are already aware of, and TrustSec to do micro-segmentation. So this would give you, CyberVision would give you the visibility, which is step one to segment your network. And it would integrate with the rest of the Cisco security components to make that happen. On the Cisco switches, we have it on the DIN rail wall mount, and then it's also supported on the enterprise switch. Now, one problem that I have heard from the people, it's good, but it's on industrial switches. We are IT. How do we convince OT the value? And I think that is one of the biggest problems, that how do we show the value? Where do we get started? So CyberVision is also supported on Catalyst 9300. We deploy it so that we can show it the visibility of the network for the north-south traffic. So it's a starting point for us. And then if we need more visibility into east-west traffic of a cell or a zone, we have to place the networking devices inside with CyberVision deployed on it. Moving on to the next topic. How many of you are, okay, I would not say that, I would assume that everybody would know that what Cisco IOS XE is, because that's why it's here in Cisco Live. Now, this is the heart and soul of what our switches has. Cisco has been a pioneer in this field. All the innovations in Cisco switching technologies that happen in the enterprise world, since we share the same code base, it comes into IoT switching as well. The advanced security, you talk about the TrustSec, the MACsec, whatever you see in the enterprise world, we see here. We also have TrustAnchor module, which is the secure boot or Act2 chip, which can help us identify counterfeit devices. Like when the device boots, there are checks at a hardware level. Then we are hearing from customers that automation needs to be done because there is so much scale, they need everything to happen in a click of a button. And for that, we need support for netconf, restconf, APIs, and other stuff. We support that. Now, as I mentioned, these switches are powered by Cisco IOS XE, but it's built for the OT because OT needs much more. We get the best of networking technologies, but there are certain industrial protocols which need to be supported, like MRP, PRP, HSR, and certain operational functions of how do we RMA the devices if it needs to be changed. All those functions are built in here. We support multi-gigabit technologies, which is mainly used for in the infrastructure use case, and then I talked about application hosting, that how cyber, which is another application hosting infrastructure is available on the network device itself. Moving on to the next one, DNA Center. I believe you are managing your IT devices today with DNA Center. And we're also hearing that the control from IT is moving down towards OT. So we made sure that you are able to manage your network, manage and monitor your network using the tool which you are already aware of. You are using this to manage your IT network, and if you are getting the same, the industrial Ethernet also there, I think that would be a big bonus and a big plus. So this will do all the functions like discovery, topology, and all the PoE assurance and other stuff. We talked about IT and OT convergence, that how do we handle that problem. Now, Cisco is one of the very few organizations which is very well suited, that it brings the best of IT and OT together. We get you the enterprise-grade security from IT. We get you the latest innovations that are happening in the switching world from IT. But we are also purpose-built for the OT because they need something, the form-fit requirement is very different. They need high MTBF. They need a long life cycle. Their operation mechanisms are different, and we can give the best of both worlds to ensure that the customer has so that we can make this IT-OT convergence even more effective. A look closer to what I said in my previous slide. If we look at in context of IoT switching, we have Catalyst Enterprise switching, which you're aware of, the Catalyst switches. The industrial Ethernet switches, they have the similar operating system, be it iOS or iOS XE, the A6, the DNA Center. So everything is common, so you are reusing the knowledge that you already have. There is no requirement to reinvest in skills because you already have it. It's just that it's for a different use case. And you can use your influence and the existing skills to make things happen. But on top of that, you get the industrial protocols which is required by these OT, or I would say OT stakeholders in your companies. Then one problem which we have often seen is, okay, we want to get started, but we don't know. You tell about that, where do we, because we need to start, is there any guideline? Is there somebody who has tested the solution? So we have a solution team which releases validated designs, which are the blueprints, which gives you a good view of, based on the vertical, that what's a design guideline to get started. Now I'll take a pause for a second, and then I will walk you through 4 use cases of where these industrial Ethernet switches are used. The first one is, this was a customer which unfortunately was hit by a ransomware attack. The board took a decision that we need to segment the network. But to segment the network, we needed to know that what's connected. We needed to get visibility. That is where cyber vision came in the picture. Cyber vision, along with 3400, which is an industrial switch, and CAT 9300, helped to get visibility into the network. And with ICE and TrustSec, we were able to do micro-segmentation. And then we were able to secure the network and get what was required. Moving on to the next one. Here, the customer wanted to refresh the legacy infrastructure it had. And then there were also some security requirements for the data center. There were compliance requirements. And here where is the point, and sorry, the reason I made this, put this here is that how end-to-end Cisco solution can help, because the customer has that skill. So we can do the connectivity part, the ruggedized connectivity part through our IoT portfolio, which is routers and switches. The data centers had Cat 8K and SD-WAN controllers, and the management part was taken care by DNA Center. The third case, now this is a very interesting one. This is I would say, new EV manufacturer in the US, and they wanted to build a network which is robust and easy to manage. But they did not have sufficient resources, and that was the condition, that we need it to be deployed and managed easily. They did not have visibility into the network what they had, and that is where the Cisco validated designs helped us. We started with the Cisco validated designs, and we offered them IoT switching, some IoT switches with the flexibility that they needed. They needed some PoE and data, and we have in our portfolio, which I will cover subsequently, that how did we give them the flexibility to choose based on the requirements they have, and how DNA Center helped them to kind of onboard and manage the devices today. The final one which we're seeing arise these days is the infrastructure use case. So the way I would like to position IoT switches is that any place where we need secure, robust connectivity in a non-carpeted area, the switches are well suited for that. So in this use case, the customers wanted a good experience for the travelers, safety and security, digital signage, weather sensors, cameras, access points, and other that. So we built a network with the Cisco Industrial Ethernet switches along the roadsides in form of fiber rings, which will aggregating up to the Cat 9K. And then we used DNA Center to manage the networks. I talked about, so far I talked about the landscape that we have. We talked about the challenges and a high-level view of how we are solving it. Now let's take a deeper look on what do we have in our portfolio. But before that, I want to state, Cisco has been a market leader once again in the managed industrial Ethernet space. We have 25% of market share today, and we are growing at 2.5 times the market. And we are grabbing share from the competition. And for that, I would like to thank all the customers like you who have completely trusted the value proposition that we offer and made this happen. And I look forward to continued support as well. So if we talk about the IoT switching portfolio, I would divide it into 4 buckets. The first one is a DIN rail, which is IE 1000 to 2000, from the entry level to the high end that we have. Then we have a rack mount portfolio, which is mounted on the 19-inch racks. We have an IP67 portfolio because we needed some switches. We needed some switches in use cases which are exposed to water and dust conditions. And they did not have an enclosure to mount the switches. And finally, we also have embedded switches. We have some customers who want Cisco networking technology, but they need other technologies, and the system integrator integrates all the technologies in a single box. And this would so this wide portfolio that we have, or the way I like to say it is that we have everything for everyone. It caters to a wide verticals or multiple use cases. Okay, so as we close, the key takeaways that I want you to walk away when you leave the room is that Cisco IoT switching portfolio is solid. We understand the challenges that our customers are facing and are making every attempt to solve those challenges. We cater to multiple verticals and multiple use cases. Now, how do we make it happen? We give the best of enterprise and IT networks. I mentioned these Cisco IoT switching is same as Cisco enterprise switching with the same management and other stuff, but it's the form fit factor is suited for the industrial requirements. Then we are, as I said, we have been delivering to the customers, listening and making changes to address the requirements. And that is the reason we are the market leaders. And we have been in the space for decades. And we're making things happen for over 15 years to make sure that our customers continue to be successful. Thank you. So these are the few sessions I would recommend you to attend. Sorry, I think it's the last day, but you can view the recordings. And feel free to fill the survey. And if you feel that any of the challenges you listed or any of the solutions, if you have some feedback, my team and I are here, and we are happy to take feedbacks. Thank you.